This is Randall Stevens from the Building Content Summit. I'm here with Sasha Reed from Bluebeam. I think we're going to talk about music. Are we going to? We can. All right. I learned last night that Sasha is a musician and has been in bands, so I was like, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about music. She can actually sing in today's podcast, but let's start out with why we're all here, what your experience has been so far with the Building Content Summit.
Thanks, Randall. I appreciate it. Not going to sing right off the bat. We'll get to that. We'll warm up to it. Yeah. I'm extremely excited to be here. This is my first time at the Building Content Summit, and a colleague of mine from the industry reached out and invited me to participate and said, hey, we're having a panel discussion about standards, the current state of standards and future standards, and we think that you'd be a great moderator to kind of corral us and keep us on track. And I jumped at the opportunity to do it. I think we're at a very interesting phase right now within the industry where we're realizing some of our limitations based on the way business used to be done and the way that workers now want to do business. And one of the primary areas that really needs to be reevaluated or assessed are standards. There's value in having standards, but how those standards are distributed, adopted, updated, that part of it has to be readdressed, and we have to modernize the way in which we look at the technology, the way we implement best practices, best workflows, and look at them in a nimble way, like agile, to actually keep up with the pace of technology and the way that workflows are changing. The workforce is changing. So to me, that was extremely exciting, and I jumped at the chance to have an opportunity to participate.
Good. We've heard several times today, we're at the tail end of the first day, but a lot of people talking about, a new generation of workers that are coming in, what their expectations are. I guess out of the things that you've heard and seen today, what's going through your mind about what Bluebeam maybe wants to start thinking about? What comes to mind there?
Great question. A lot. But I think first and foremost is staying true to what's made us successful thus far. And that's been keeping our ear to the ground and partnering with our customers to understand how are your business challenges evolving. Nothing is static today. And with the leaps in innovation becoming shorter and shorter, I think it's very challenging for business leaders today to choose the right technology, to apply it, to go through implementation, training, capturing best practices. So as I sit here in this conference, half as somebody who's passionate about changing the industry, half as somebody who's had the opportunity to work with Bluebeam for many years, I feel like we should stay the course in making sure we're partnering and hearing what the end user needs in order to be able to be nimble enough to provide it. Yet there's something that you actually said in the kickoff that really resonates, which is just because we can build it doesn't mean we should, your words. And I completely agree. I feel like there has to be a partnership between the industry end user and the technology provider, primarily because there are certain things that we understand as being the techies in the room, of hopefully taking the needs and the shortcomings within the industry and innovating beyond what's even expected. And if we only do exactly what's asked of us, sometimes we could shortchange ourselves. And if we only did what's asked of us, sometimes we distract ourselves. And some of these innovations take time. Just like building a building takes time. You don't walk into a BIM cave, see the building, walk out and see a hole in the ground and say, well, where's my building? You understand the constraints of it. So I think for us, it's just reinforcing, keeping an ear to the ground, sticking close to the customer, hearing what their needs are, and really partnering with them to figure out what those solutions look like.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this last night, that there are, I think, your role at Bluebeam, the kinds of things I try to do at my company is, I think I told you last night one of these Steve Jobs quotes, which was, you don't take literally what people tell you. Your job is really to interpret that, right? The customer can't tell you what they want. They can, but it's not literal. You have to, I call it the art of. That's what we all should do. It's not literal. It's listening often, having those conversations, and then interpreting it. And that's, I think, the art of what we do, and what makes it fun, right? I mean, is that really what you want me to do, or how do I interpret that? So anyway, I think I told you, Aaron Mallor and I have started these podcasts called the Mavens of Content. So we're for sure going to schedule you for like a long one, and we'll do we'll kind of dig in to maybe some more about what Bluebeam's doing, and maybe talk about some of your all's product. But I guess the last thing I want to know is, what are you going to sing? Are you going to finish this with? Can you give us a couple of bars of something?
It'd have to be your choice. You would have to select the song, which is a challenge because I don't think you know jazz.
No, I don't. So it's going to be tough. We'll do that one on the longer call too. Anyway, thanks for joining us.